Hi, how's everyone today? I have a special guest. This is Valerie from Illumination Portal, and that is Terri Suzuki from Kigaru Tarot, and she has graciously uh, accepted my invitation to come on live, and we are going to talk about trust today. Huh, Terri? So, I guess it's about self-trust because when you are we're intuitive psychics. So let me say that. I always forget. This is a spiritual channel and dedicated to raising the vibration on Mother Earth by raising our individual vibrations. Um, and that requires trust and faith. And first, your self trust in yourself and what it is you're hearing, and where's all this new information coming from? Am I crazy or what's going on? How would you describe uh, having that presented to you, your intuitive gifts and presented to you, and trusting them?
Well, at first, because I've had these since I was a kid, I didn't not trust them, but I didn't know what they were. They just were. So I do think that part of me decided not to trust too much when I was little because I didn't tell a lot of people about them.
Yeah.
Some of them was because I thought, oh, this is normal. This happens to everybody because I am the most normal kid in the world. Yeah. Turns out maybe not so much normal. But I found especially, I started trusting them, I would say, in my early 20s, because my mother, for some odd reason, despite that she was more Christian than ever spiritual, had taught me how to play with time. I could change time even in my 20s, even before I became spiritual.
Wow,
And
your
so
mom
I learned
taught
how to
you?
trust that.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone else say this. I know a couple people we are associated with can do this, but I've always felt like time is something we control. That is fascinating that your mom taught you that. Oh, please tell me.
Yeah, it's just weird. She just, because she was very Catholic, but for some reason I don't know exactly, but she just told me I can change time if I want to. And so, like when I would be late to work, I could pray and ask Jesus to change the time,
Mhm.
and he did.
Yeah.
Um, and then sometimes, like if I were driving in the snow and something was going, like I was going to slide, and somehow knew I was going to slide, for some reason I could change the time and go past it. I don't really know how I did it exactly, other than just making it so.
Yeah.
But so that's how I started kind of trusting, and not so much trusting as just realizing this is part of me. It's just part of me. Yeah.
That that is true. It's not like it's a one-time deal where you're having to trust in what you're hearing. It is over time and seeing, okay, I can make the time work for me. And TBarb saying the same thing. She's done it by a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it another time and you just are, I guess it's more of a, okay, I got that. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then anytime I've needed to have more time or
Mm-hmm.
time, every time that happened, it gives you more confidence. And
Yeah,
slowly we
it
get
just
those.
becomes, yeah, it just becomes it
Yeah,
is, it just
there you
is.
go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here struggling with words
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, how do you say that? Because
Right.
when we're learning our gifts, I guess when it was more of the fact when I was taking classes and really wanting to learn and understand my gifts, that required a lot of trust from me. From up
Mm-hmm.
until then, like most of my life, I just knew I knew things. I didn't know how to
Mm-hmm.
explain I knew things or
Right.
could could see things or hear things sometimes, but it was not like I could um, do it
Mm-hmm.
continuously
Right.
on a regular basis. And then once I started learning how to, that required trust.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and, and go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Because
ahead.
see, now that I'm older and right now I'm not working, I don't generally mess with time, like the timeline. But what's funny is, of course, my Kigaru spiritual journeys, the spiritual journeys have no dimensions or time.
Yeah.
We're outside of that, and I just have to trust it. I will have to say that one of the things that you and I talked about before that I think is super, super important is that the work we're doing, whether you're doing intuitive work, throwing tarot cards, doing psychic work, doing medium work,
Mm,
it all revolves around trust.
yeah.
You have to trust what they're giving you and you have to bring it forward. Because the funny thing about this is if we don't trust, they stop talking to us
Yeah.
because it's a waste of their time too, you know. And
Yes.
well, they don't have time, but you know what I mean. They don't want to waste their effort and energy on someone who won't listen.
True.
Um, and so I do think that is bedrock to what we do. That we actually have to trust. Um,
Yeah.
definitely.
TBarb saying I just had a gut feeling, my friends, all trusted. They'd ask me if we'd get in trouble if we went ahead and did it. And see, those are the things that come up. You're like, oh, I guess it's due to our programming, our
Mhm.
societal programming. If we've had any sort of religion influence in our lives, that does come up, especially
Mhm.
with a, a religious parent or household. And I just love the fact that your mom was open to this, though. Even with that, my mom brought us to all the different religions, and we got to understand them all, but we didn't have to make a decision on anything. She was brought up Catholic in a Catholic school and said she would never do that to her kids. So I thank you, Mom, for that. But she had a different experience, right? And everybody does. So we come to this going, oh, am I bad? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Am I
Mhm.
going to get in trouble spiritually?
Right.
Especially, who wants to get in trouble spiritually? And
Right.
and you get to that point, and then well, we were talking earlier, where you've decided to trust. Now you need faith, because
Mhm.
faith in knowing the information that you've been receiving is useful for
Mhm.
your the person, your client or your friend or whoever you're imparting the information to.
Right.
But it is a journey. It's a journey over time, and I can't now. Every time I say the word time, I'm like, quit saying it. there, there's no time. But it is a unique experience when you make the clock perfect. I know I left the house 10 minutes later than I should have, and I know I'm late for work, but am- I just say I'm not, and I walk in and I'm not late for work. So
Mhm.
I've done it so many times that I
Yeah.
realized that is a
Yeah.
true thing. And her,
Yeah. I
T-Bar,
think sometimes they do it for us too. Sometimes I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I don't think I don't think it was me doing it. I always thought it was my guides, my higher self, and then once you get to have those conversations with your guides and your higher self, and you learn more and more each time.
Right.
I and I use a pendulum now because it's just we can have a very long conversation about any subject, and that I love. It's just
Mhm.
it gives me that, okay, I'll ask, am I on the right track with this? Yes, and then we just keep asking the questions pertaining to whatever that subject is, and
Mhm.
it's just so freeing now. It's so
Yeah.
freeing. And before, though, when I didn't trust, I didn't feel that freedom as much. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure if not so much that I was going to get in trouble, like TBarb saying with somebody, but I didn't want to be wrong or give someone the wrong information.
Right. Now that is, we didn't talk about that before, but that is one of kind of my bedrock things, that part of my goal, my mission or whatever is I don't want to give anybody bad information. I don't want to hurt anybody at all.
Mm,
What I want to do, and when I meditate and get ready for this, is, I'm asking for messages for their highest good. Now, it doesn't mean that every message that I'm going to get is going to be, love and roses. Because I say for their highest good, for at the highest vibration, for their to help them live their best life. And
mm,
that's in case that the angels or guides need to tell them to not do something. They might say, drive a little more carefully this week or whatever, so it's not that they can't say something that sometimes people would consider dark. They can, so long as it's in that person's highest good. And I just have to trust and be careful that the information I'm getting is in their highest good. Um, there have been times when I'm reading, and I should back up here just a second. We all have different senses in the spiritual world, all
mm,
Clara senses. The ones I have mostly is clairvoyance and clairsentience. I also smell and taste things.
oh, neat.
Yeah, I'm not so much clairaudient,
Mm,
um, like Terry Lee of Pure Visionary Psychic Medium. She's very clairaudient,
mhm.
and I think that is such a cool sense. So usually, though, I have visions that then have to be interpreted,
Yeah.
and uh, once in a great while, they do show me a vision, and I'm like, I can't say that on YouTube. I
Mm.
can't say that. And but remember, if I don't give the message that they give me, they may stop talking to me.
Right.
So I just say, I am willing to give the message. I just can't say that. Could you show it to me in a different way? And usually they will accommodate me and show me a different vision that says the same thing without saying it quite like they did. Because maybe the vision I'm seeing, it might be too dark, or it might be
Mm,
too sexual, or it might be
mm.
too invasive, something that I think might embarrass them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, I say the same thing to you. Please show me another way or give me another word, anything to go
Yeah.
forward with this. Yeah, because nobody wants that. Well, I know we don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to embarrass anybody. Uh,
Mhm.
um, that would never be my intention. It is for the highest good of
Okay.
that
Yeah.
person at
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. I don't want people to be afraid to read with me that I'm going to see every awful thing in their life. I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah.
But there have been times, like Medium Kim taught us to read time with our hands, and
Oh,
uh,
cool.
we were practicing that, and it was, the angels got your back. So I was reading a lady, I was reading her from teenagehood all the way to I was going to read till her whole life, but I could only get to her 40s.
Mm,
And so there was a time in her teenage life, and I'm reading, I'm really seeing it. And then there's a blackout. There's like
Ooh.
a shield. And I'm like, oh, and this is where I had to trust them. I knew I could spiritually pry the shield off and see what was there if I wanted to. But I had to trust that they know what they're shielding, and it's
Mm,
important to this person that
yes.
the shield remains there. So
Yeah.
I just kept going. And then at age 22, there was another very small shield. And yet when I got to her 30s, I didn't know this, but suddenly in their 30s, they showed me she had so much joy and happiness, and that she had a kick-ass sex life. I can just I mean, I'm not seeing her naked or anything, but I'm just
Right,
seeing
right.
the joy
Yeah,
of that.
the
And
vibration of it. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't really get the visuals like that. But I'll just have a knowing. Okay, that's
right,
what that
right,
was. You know.
right. It was knowing, but it was knowing what it was, that it wasn't just she's happy. It
Yeah, yeah.
was, whoa, this lady's got it going on. And then we got to her 40s, and that we ran out of time. And then she had to go back, and she said, Terri, I am so relieved. She said, during my teens, at the time that the shield was there, I was involved in a cult. And I would have been so ashamed for you to see that,
Oh,
you know. And when we were reading, she didn't think about it. Once we were there, she probably thought, oh God, she's going to see that. I don't know what was in the 22 when she was 22. We didn't
yeah.
talk about it, but I just thought it, and she said that in her 30s, she had gotten remarried and had a wonderful life.
Oh, wow. I love how you read. How did you do these journeys? How do you, it just, did this just come to you to do the journeys,
um,
the dream journey?
well, the dream journeys I've had all my life. All
Oh,
my life. I got a very active dream life. I'm going places all the time.
and
And
so,
if it's a spiritual dream, I actually remember them forever. Um,
huh.
unless that there's something going on. There's one spiritual dream when my mother died, and my mother came forward, and I didn't get the dream. My sister got it, but it's blocked from my memory now. But it was so profound. And yet it's blocked from my memory right now. I'm sure they'll unblock it eventually. So that again is part of the trust.
Right.
I have to trust that they will reveal that when I need to know it, but I don't need to know it now, or I shouldn't know it right now. So I just leave that alone. But in the journeys, how did this happen? So those happened spontaneously in dreams, but it wasn't until I met Sun Psychic Jean. So last June, after the spirits fired me basically and said, we have a new thing for you to do. Pretty
Yeah.
much what we did to Susan Lynn. Um, I then took a class from Susan Lynn and medium Kim Copeland.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I met Jean and Wisdom Seeker Joan and Terry Lee of Pure Visionary Psychic Medium and Thayer and a whole bunch of brilliant women, brilliant.
You
And
really are.
once we started practicing, actually, Jean noticed it first. Jean noticed, wow, you go on a journey, and
Yeah.
kind of started encouraging me to go on the journeys, to go with what I saw. Because at first, when I was in class and we were reading, and I'm seeing a journey, and I would go a little ways, and then I'd pull back because I'm like, maybe that's just enough. That's just enough. It
Ah,
might go away. It might stop. And I was in that first class. Danny Shea was there too. Just he already was doing his things. I think he was just like maybe tuning up or something. But he
mhm.
was also the first one to say, "Oh no, don't stop, don't stop,
Ooh,
keep going." And it gave me the confidence to keep going. Um,
that is so I mean, that really is beautiful because I do that too. I'll stop. I'll
Right.
hold back. So just keep going. And
Right.
then what happens?
Right. And I have to trust what I see.
Yeah.
If I don't understand what I see, I now, and some psychic Gene's help. My friend Jean has definitely helped me a lot with this in asking questions. Don't
Okay.
say, "Oh, I don't know what that means." Say, please show me more.
Mm.
And trust in what they're showing me. You know, please tell me what that is. And also, I know now from all of this. So a lot of times, if I meditate, I often go on. It seems like if they can just get me to hold still for 2 minutes,
Mm.
then we're
Mm.
going on a journey. You know, they got my attention, and now we can go do stuff. And so I don't have very calm meditations. It,
That's
it,
so
yeah, and they often then take me to do something and then give me a gift. They'll give me things.
cool.
And what I've learned now is I always trusted to take the gift,
Yeah.
and medium Kim Copeland is the one that taught us how to accept the gift. She would often in her meditations before the practice would, get us in touch with spirit or an angel, and then at near the end she'd say, now cup your hands, put your hands out to receive a gift and ask for the gift, you know. And I would actually feel something coming into my hands.
Oh,
And so, but when I'm meditating, they give me very spiritual gifts. So the first gift I got was a dagger, a
mm.
jeweled dagger. And I just took it, and I'm like, and what do you do? What does it do? But I didn't know very much then. And they're like, well, you can slice open the truth if somebody's hiding something from you. And I'm
Oh,
like, really? Okay. And they said something else too, but it was like, okay, great. And I accepted that gift, and that gift sat in my satchel for a long time, because unused, because I didn't realize that. So now I know when they give me a gift, I say thank you, but I say, what does this gift do?
mm.
How am I supposed to use it? Could you demonstrate it for me?
Oh, do you really?
Yes,
Okay. And I
because
will.
otherwise it's just going to sit there for a long time. And one time I thought, oh, they're hiding something from me, and I took out my dagger and I sliced it was a white leather, and saw behind, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. And thankfully the daggers are like a little laser, and I just laser knit the white leather back together.
that is fab. I mean, that is so much
Yeah.
detail. The details you have and the um, abilities. I never thought to ask the guides to show me what this does, or could I have a
Mm.
gift? Never even thought about that. I've received gifts, and that was usually something to, like, my heart. When my heart chakra opened, I was telling you about this when I was in Arizona, and Superstition Mountain turned into one big huge crystal. And at the very same time, it was that day, I was very sick at the time. uh it was, I think it was right before this, because that's when I stood up and I was looking out the window, and I couldn't believe the energy coming out of my heart chakra. I was so upset. I kept having anxiety attacks, and I just was at the point where I was like, I don't care if this anxiety attack kills me anymore. I just don't care. Well, as soon as I laid down, it just burst. I just let it burst through, and it opened up my heart chakra. I mean, flooded out this energy. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's going on? I didn't know what I just did. I didn't know. I really didn't expect to live through an anxiety attack. I was so used to having them, and they were so painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it felt so good. And this went on for months, just this energy pouring through me. So they were um, explaining to me to direct it. Where do you want to send this love, this energy? So that was really cool. And then one time it was like a crystal, because I do love crystals. And I think it, I think it was Archangel Gabriel, and he put a crystal inside my heart. But just these little quick, and they're so quick and fast. And you seem to have a really good hold of your memory. Like, you can remember the details. I apologize. I live by a military base, and the jets are flying. Oh, good, good. So they're so loud. But I should have been writing all this down. There's so much to know, and it's so unique. Each person's guides and their gifts are so unique to that person,
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
like, taking a class like Medium Kim and Susan Lynn's class really helped you understand, by
Mm-hmm.
speaking with all these other people like, we come together and we encourage
Mm-hmm.
each other, and
Right.
show each other what we know, you know.
What I knew before going into that class, because I had had Susan Lynn read me a couple months before,
Mm,
was that she had said, you're going to learn how to do all of this, and then you're going to make it your own.
that
And
yeah.
I have noticed that that's the case. I tend to learn something, and then I do it however I do it. And so I want people to trust themselves that they will probably have their way to do it. They might learn the basics of how to get it going, and then they will do it the way that their guides and their angels will instruct them, and it will be right. It will not be wrong. It'll be
that,
right.
that's
You know?
true.
Yeah.
And it is so unique, and it's a very hard thing to explain to others.
Mhm.
I don't know. Do you get this question when you're reading someone? Do they ask you, how do you know, or how do like, you just can't really explain how you know things. It's
Yeah. Nobody ever asks me that.
Oh, thank goodness.
They're usually too flummoxed by whatever I'm telling them.
So when you do read on somebody, it brings you to a certain the thing that maybe that person needs to work on or needs to know, and it just unfolds for you. And while it's unfolding,
Mhm.
you're telling the person what's
So,
going on.
so when I do a personal reading, this is how I do it. So I first do what I call praying us in,
Yeah.
setting my intention before the creator, asking the angels and the spirit guides and the loved ones to help, and asking the ascended masters, and anybody who has a high vibrational message can come
Hmm.
forward. I then put us in a bubble of divine light. I don't have to do that, but it makes my sitters feel better.
Yeah.
They feel more protected. I am completely protected already. We're all actually completely protected by
Mhm.
the God inside of us, which I see in every single person like a little golden nugget, a little teeny rough gold nugget right in the center of your chest. And it's there, and I now rely upon that to protect me. Um,
Okay.
uh, it's always there, never not there. So
Okay.
um, that I more rely on that. And then what I do is I pull some oracle cards for them, not because the oracle cards do. I don't interpret oracle cards at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the oracle cards are somehow a prayer that brings me deeper, deeper, deeper as I do it. The person who I'm reading, they get the added benefit if they can ask the angels and guides a question to be answered by the cards. And it does every time, every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I don't interpret them. They're not for me. It's between them and God, not me.
Yeah.
All it does for me is get me deeper.
Yeah.
And then I ask them what they want me to read on. What was their idea here? And I'll write down all their questions on a little pad of paper. And then it kind of depends on where they are. I can do a straightforward reading where I just go get the loved one and talk to them and ask the question if they want. But if there is any amount of spirituality in the person, even the tiniest bit, then we're going to go on a journey. And during the journey, all the questions will be answered. So I will, and I may ask, we might encounter an angel or somebody, and then I may ask them the question, so-and-so wants to know this. Could you tell us about that? And then they will. And during these journeys, sometimes people get healed. I don't do any heal. I'm just a conduit. I'm just a pipe. That's all. And then a lot of times an angel will come in and do something. Usually spiritual, but once in a great while, I'll see something physical happen. And I describe it the whole time so they know what's going on, because they have to agree to it.
Yes.
In fact, at one point, the angel will stop me and say, "Do they agree to this?" And they have to say yes or no.
Yeah.
And also, if there's any cord cutting or removal of any dark energies, they also have to agree to that.
Yeah. Well, that's the way that I've always read too. You have to have that that confirmation from the person, the agreement. And anytime I do anything, I do put a gold bubble around and call everybody in. So that seems like I've never taken any of these classes. So I like seeing how similar a lot of things are, but how unique your journey is. That is really.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It requires a lot of trust. Trust that what I'm seeing matters to that person, that they're going to know what I'm talking about, because I don't know. They can show me a plaid shirt and it means nothing to me but a warm plaid shirt, but maybe it means something to the person listening to it. Maybe that's the shirt their dad wore all the time, or yeah.
So you just recite everything you see. You just
pretty much. I try to say it as much as possible, and then if after, sometimes I get done with that scene and I'm like, dang it, Terri, you left out the orange color over there. I also have to trust that the orange color over there was not necessary to the sitter's knowledge.
Okay.
That maybe it was just for my benefit, or, sometimes they do things to entertain me. Sometimes they tease me. And so I sometimes they make fun of me even. And it's okay, because it's in loving, good-hearted fun.
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh too. But I remember one time I was reading somebody and they were healing her, actually, and they were doing stuff, and her guide was Russian in nature, like talked in a Russian voice, and she like smoked too. She's very, very beautiful and sophisticated. And I was like, oh, they're doing something to you. They're doing something. They're putting this silvery liquid on you. And I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. It's so attractive. Oh, I just wish I could have some of that. It's just, oh, it's so attractive. What is it? And I'm going on and on. And finally, the guide says, it's love, dummy. And I'm like, and I said what she said, and we both just cracked up. It was so funny.
Oh my goodness.
It's love, dummy.
That is so cool. So you see the details of the guides, of even their guides, not only your guides.
Sometimes, not always. Sometimes, and this person had quite a few really really interesting guides. One of them, in fact, looked like a giant orange jelly bean with a pink flat top and wings.
And what? And a what?
And wings.
Wings.
Yeah, and it flew
Oh,
on.
have you seen that before? Or anything close to that? No. Yeah, that's very unusual.
And the wings would have made any bumblebee absolutely jealous because they were so tiny they couldn't possibly pick up that big being. And then they did, and they flew off.
So, oh my God, that is so cool. The things that you see on these journeys. It's just
Yeah, I usually am doing them, but I try to look normal as I'm doing it, but inside I'm like, what? Like, what the heck just happened here?
What is this? Yeah.
A big jelly bean? What the heck? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. TBarb was laughing. She said, I laughed my head off when, I was upset. The spirit said, rabbits got to eat. Who said that the other day? Same here. I laughed my head off when I was upset. The rabbit was nibbling on the garden. Spirit said, the rabbits got to eat. That's like the second time this week I've heard that phrase, TBarb. I don't know. The rabbit does got to eat. Yeah, I get mad at them in my garden too. TBarb is loving this conversation. She says,
Well,
thank you for being here.
TBarb and I've read TBarb a little bit. TBarb's got some stuff going on there that's really powerful and interesting.
And so, and do you find that with everybody when you read? Do you find that each person in they're unique and they have?
Everybody's unique. Other than everybody's got the little gold nugget.
Yeah.
Everybody is unique. Everybody is an old being. Everybody is a spirit that has been here forever, coming back again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a higher being over there.
Yeah.
And when I this weekend, I actually went out and was a vendor for 2 days at a metaphysical fair. So I was reading people live and in person, which I'd never done before. I've only done it over Zoom like this, and StreamYard and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I had never done it in person. And so if you guys are getting out there and you're going to do some in-person work, you should be aware that it is way more powerful. I mean, massively powerful. I thought that because I was just going to do little 15-minute readings, and I thought, oh, what can we do in 15 minutes? But we practice and we do lots of stuff in 15 minutes. So I thought, okay, that's good. I can do that. And then I thought it's a big venue and maybe the noise would put me off. It did not. Man, those spirits wanted to be read. They wanted to say things and they came out. Yeah. It was, I mean, eye-opening for me, believe me.
So how you did this all through the weekend for a weekend last weekend?
Yeah, so I did last Saturday and Sunday. I was from 11 to 7 at night. I was at a fair, yeah, and had a little booth. And at first, the first day, I read like 3 people, and they were really good readings, but otherwise, everybody walked by me and ignored me. And so I was kind of feeling down, kind of feeling bad. Yeah. You think you got it going on, don't you? You don't. And then I happened to talk to, there was another psychic medium there. She's really good. Her name's Amanda Gale, and I don't think she has YouTube, but she's around my area. I'm in the kind of Seattle, Pacific Northwest area. And I happened to stop and talk to her husband, and he asked me, "Oh, are you getting lots of readings?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, did you go to the intuitive panel in the morning? And I'm like, no. And he goes, you gotta go to that. He said at the intuitive panel, what they do is that people stand up and come to the mic and ask a question, and then everybody on the panel that shows up can read them, and then people can see what you can do and if they want to book you or not. And he says as soon as she comes out in the morning from that panel, people rush over and book her all day. She's all booked for the whole day.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, good. Now she's really well known in our area, so it makes sense that they'd book her all day. So I went and read, and it was wild. For me, it was wild for me because it was so unexpected. I mean, how do I tell a journey in just a minute?
Right.
My guides are long talking, kind of, not talking, long. How am I going to make this in a minute? Is this going to even be worth my time when I'm up there? And I don't know if you want me to talk about the Buddha that happened before.
Sure. Yeah, I was just gonna say you should say what happened, because that was a trust moment for you. You went to the panel, and then it was a beautiful story.
Yeah. So on Sunday morning, I'm part of a development circle, which is the English style of reading people, where spiritual people just get together. They're not in a circle because we're on Zoom, but and you just hold the space open, and hopefully one of passed on love, one of the people in the circle will come and give a message.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a while, and the ladies that I read with are super high powered, and we're starting to actually bring in other spirits and angels, and they're starting to let us interview them, even like ask them. Like we interviewed a newly passed on spirit for 45 minutes once, and it was amazing to ask him about, how was his transition? How did it go? What, was this your plan? Was this an exit point for you, or was it, not supposed to be? And it was very interesting.
Oh wow, I would love to hear that too.
Yeah. But this day, I had woke up and had a fight with my husband, and I was feeling really bad because nobody was booking me, and feeling fairly lousy. And the fight took up too much time, so I didn't even have time to meditate before going to the circle. But I had been counting on that I'd go to this circle, and then I went to the event. I'd be all high powered up and ready to go, And and so I went anyway, even though I wasn't high powered up or anything. I went because I thought at least you can do is hold space for these ladies. Try to do a mini meditation and hold space for them. So I'm sitting there, and we're there, and I'm still, I'm trying to do this tiny little meditation, and suddenly my vision goes hump, and I'm right there in a journey, just so unexpectedly. And so then I say I take them on the journey with me. And what happened was it whumped into verdigris green, which is a color I love. That's the color that comes on top of copper as it ages. And I just suddenly saw verdigris green everywhere. It's so pretty. And then it started to clear up a little bit, and it became a rock wall. And there was a Buddha carved into the stone, and the stone was kind of verdigris green. So beautiful. But somehow I knew if I just would touch the arm of the Buddha, it would open, that it was a gate. So I touched the Buddha, the gate opened, and there I was in a Japanese garden. And there was a tea house to the right of me on piers, so you could do your tea ceremony and look out over the water. There's water in front of me, and stones going through the water that you could walk on, and there's like a little cliff and a path at the end. And I'm like, oh, this is so pretty and so green. And I put my foot on the first stone, and they directed my attention to the left, and they said, behold, this is the one time I was clairaudient for a few moments here.
See?
Behold the sea of creation. And I looked down, and yes, indeed, the water amoebas were creating and doing something in there. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I put my foot on the next stone, and they had directed my vision to the right, and they're like, behold the sea of turmoil. And it's rolling. And I'm like, ooh, yeah. I put my foot on the next stone, and then behold the sea of tranquility. And two more stones and two more things. And I was to the cliff, and I climbed up on the cliff. And there was the rocks kind of jutted out, and one was kind of like a seat. So I turned around and sat on the seat. And when I did, I became the stone Buddha, and I melted into the wall. I became stone in the wall. I became the Buddha.
Wow.
My eyes could still move and look around. I could see the beautiful garden in front of me. I could talk, but I was stone. I was. And it was so peaceful. It was so zen, so zen. And so I have to trust that what I'm saying means something to the people in the circle. And I also had to trust on one other thing. Somehow I knew deep inside me that the people, somebody in the circle, maybe one or two people, that they would interpret all this. That it wasn't just mine to interpret. It was mine to experience and tell them. And so they start talking, and they say, oh, did you notice that all those C's were feelings, mostly feelings about, and we have a friend going through some problems, and they were like, and I said, yeah, I could feel her as I went on the journey. And, that she's feeling these emotions and moving, and they decide to pray for her later. And then I'm sitting there, and the funny thing is I'm talking to them, but I haven't looked back at the recording, but it's in kind of almost in a really spaced out way. And one of the ladies said, Terri, did you know that Buddha had a friend? And I'm like, no, because I virtually know nothing about Buddha. And she said, Buddha's friend is Mara. Do you know what Mara does? And I'm like, no. And she said, Mara is the one that comes to talk to you that says, you're not good enough. People aren't booking you because you're wearing a mask. People don't, it's because you're not really a good reader. Mara says all those things. And I was just sitting there, and I'm like, oh, that's so sad. I'm going to go to the fair, and I'm going to be the Buddha. I'm going to go there and be the Buddha. I'm going to have Buddha energy when I'm there. I'm going to go be the Buddha. And I'm going to ask Mara to sit beside me. Because that's sad. That's sad that she lives life like that. And so I'm still there. I'm still the Buddha. And the lady who said that, she said, Terri, do you know what the Buddha did? I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm still kind of spacey. No. And she said, he asked Mara to sit beside him. And I'm like, I'm still spacey, but I'm like, whoa. So when I went there, I asked Mara to sit beside me on my left, and I had my sitter's chair on the right, and my daughter, who came to help me a little bit, she went to the left one time. I'm like, oh, you have to move, Mara's there.
Geez, that is so fascinating. And then that day you read.
So that day I was the Buddha, And when I went to the intuitive panel, and like I said, it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah.
So the first person that stood up, she just asked a question that, I don't remember what it was. It was something about how do you do this or that? And I didn't answer on that one. I didn't have anything. The second person that stood up, so I'm on one end, they're on the other end, and everybody wants to read because they want people to book them. So the other end of the table's going at it, talking. I don't even know what the question is because I'm just sitting there like, what? I'm like looking at her, I'm looking at this. I'm like, am I really seeing this? Because I saw a man behind her. And I'm like, am I really seeing that? So it was a man with a gold outline, not so much features. And I'm just like, oh, and he's so loving and he's so protective of her. And his name is Mark. And so when I finally get the microphone, I don't even answer the question. I'm like, wow, you got a man standing behind you. I just described the whole thing. And his name's Mark. And then I just hand the microphone to the next guy, because you're one of the guy. And he reads Mark.
Oh, wow.
And because he was some sort of powerful. And anyway, what I didn't know, so I could kind of look out into the audience, and I thought about 2/3 of the audience were interested. 1/3 was terrified. And my daughter watched, and she said what I didn't know, because I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
But he said, the second you said, and his name is Mark, everybody went, oh, this huge gasp. Yeah, I don't know. And then it was more. There was more. It was wild. My stage was wild. They brought out maps and all sorts of things. And oh my gosh, in person is some sort of.
I would imagine you're getting that energy and you're just vibing off of that crowd and those people, because I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of readers there, there's a lot of seekers there looking for information, and everybody's energy is really amped up, ready to go.
So I think that we get used to doing this on YouTube, and we think we're interacting really well, and we are, but I have a feeling now after doing that in person it goes way farther, way farther.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. I would imagine with the energy. I told you my friend, she was a psychic healer, and I used to go with her to those, and I've always wondered if I should get a booth and try it. But I think I will, because what you don't know until you try, right? Plus, how often do these psychic fairs come around? They're not that often. Would you do it in any other setting? Do you think? Go out and read?
Well, if that we don't have very many metaphysical stores around here, but one of our good friends, Dr. Gail, she used to read at one of her, after she kind of confirmed her gifts, then the way she did it was actually reading real life people at the metaphysical store, and that I noticed, her gifts really grew, really amped up. So I think if I had such an opportunity, I might take it. Yeah.
I know that they do go throughout the summer, spring, summer, fall, probably, but I wonder, I don't know. Now my mind is thinking, like, how do we get out there with more people? It is. It's like, well, for about 2.5 years, we've been home and working on ourselves and learning about ourselves, trusting this whole process. And now it seems like, okay, the guides are like, now here's the next step. opens the door, like go out the door.
Yeah.
Spirit takes one step at a time, TBarb. That is so true.
Right.
And she says you were so brave. She
Thank
was.
you. I didn't necessarily feel brave. I kind of felt at some points a little stupid for trying, but but I decided I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna, even if I have to just sit here all day long shuffling cards, I'm gonna do it. But I'm glad that I stayed. I'm glad, it's always a learning process.
Yeah.
It's always a learning process. One thing that they're prompting me to kind of go back, one thing you and I were going to talk about a little bit also is listening to your spirit guides and angels. And what I want to tell everybody about the spirit guides and angels is that it's all different. Everybody's different. I love like Susan Lynn's style, where that she's just, they're chatting to her all the time. She's got to tell them to shut up, and I love that. Now, my guides are not like that. When I'm around the house day to day, they're not talking to me. I probably am not really talking to them, although I guess I could be. But what they do day to day to me is nudge me. They nudge me to drink more water, or nudge me to go over here, or nudge me to look out the window, or nudge me to look up, and they nudge me a lot. They tend to come out and are more active either in meditations or readings with people. Then they often will guide me through the reading, or they will take me on a journey. Like I have a sea turtle, and often she wants me to hold on to the hand of my sitter and then hold on to her shell. And then she takes us places. She doesn't just go through water. She flies in the air or through space. Wherever she's going to take us, we just hang on and go. And then I have a shaman, and I usually only meet him in a big kiva, and he doesn't talk to me. So neither one of those are talk. They put thoughts in my head, and I just follow what they do.
The sea turtle, she has a name. Does she have a name?
No, they neither of them have a name.
I know, mine don't either. I wonder, but that's fascinating. A sea turtle and a shaman. I love it. In different. Go ahead.
I have a couple more, but I don't interact with them as much, or maybe they interact with me at night. I don't know.
Do you feel that? I feel that at night I'm very busy. But I don't remember. You say you remember your dreams, though. You do remember your dreams.
Yeah.
And I barely remember mine. And I'll be saying in the dream repeatedly, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. I can never forget this. I'm going to remember this. I wake up and it's gone every time. I don't know. Go ahead.
Sometimes what I do, because there are times I have forgotten. I always have a piece of paper and a pencil by my bed, and just write like a couple words down to try to jog my memory in the morning if that I think I might not remember it. Because I noticed recently my dreams changed just a tiny bit, and I'm doing something in there because I wake up. I wake up a lot in the night, and I wake up and I'm talking, and I'm like, oh, you got to do this. Don't forget this on the list, and make sure you get this. So I'm building something in my dream. I don't know what, but I'm working quite hard. And there's another project. There's two projects going on, and I notice, I can tell when I wake up talking which one I'm talking about, but I don't know what the projects are exactly. But somewhere I'm building something. So.
Wow, that is fascinating. It seems that's all I'm saying, but you are fascinating how you get this information, and you know that you're building something in your dreams, two things, but you don't know what. I just think that's wow. I also feel like it is a lot of us are leveling up. We're
Mhm.
um, our gifts
Mhm.
are increasing,
Yeah.
our abilities are increasing, things are coming to us even
Yeah.
faster than they used to,
Right.
and uh, clearer.
Yeah.
It's I remember there was a quite a bit of time where it was like a searching, trying to understand period, and that seems to be gone. It's just like I'll ask, let me know about whatever this is, XYZ, and it just flashes a picture in my head. But like you said, we all have those different, some
Mhm.
can see, some can hear, different clairs are going on.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that does take a lit. It takes not so much takes get time to get used to, but it does. The trust on that for me was also, I could just be telling myself stuff. I could just be telling myself, but why would I bring up a white unicorn? I mean, out of nowhere,
No,
or whatever.
right. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. So that's part of the trust that because when we first started the classes, even Susan Lynn said, um, some of you said, "Oh, I'm just making that up." She said, "Go ahead, just make it up." She says, "Start the reading." Because everyone, of course, at the very beginning was afraid. Like,
Mm,
I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want
right.
to, I'm afraid. What if I get it wrong? What if? And she said, "So what? Go ahead and make it up. Make it up." Because what she knew is you cannot make this shit up. You cannot.
And that's true statement. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you actually can't. You may start thinking you're making it up, and they're going to take you
Yeah.
places, and they're going to guide that. You just have to let them. And I'm at the point. First of all, I also think I'm not special in any sort of way at all.
No.
Everybody can do this.
Right.
Everybody can do this.
I agree.
Um, it's more a matter, do you want to do this, and do you want to trust enough to do this, to not look like an idiot, do you, but it's also about starting to say yes instead of no. I
Yes.
remember when I was younger, before I had these classes, before I was here, I might have that spiritual dream. I might start to see something and say, no, 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 I don't like that.
Right.
No, that's evil. No, no, don't show me that.
Mhm.
And change the dream, because I can change my dreams too if I want to.
Mhm.
And now I don't think I ever say no to anything. I'm
Right.
more like, that's fascinating. Let's go.
Yeah. Uh, did the long TBarb is asking, did the long red dress lady ever mean anything? Must be something that
I,
you
oh God.
in there. But and see, this is how this stuff comes
I
and goes.
kind of, yeah, it kind of does. Because remember, the thing that I got right away from that red dress lady, even though I don't know her, what 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 made it, I felt like I was going to go to the metaphysical fair and be a success. That's what I learned from the red dress lady. So T-Barb saw a beautiful, slim lady in a red ball gown on a stage singing opera.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't hear the opera, but she could tell the woman had just sung. And then the
Mhm.
woman comes to the edge of the stage and people hand her roses and roses. She clearly did a great job. Now,
Mhm.
I don't have anybody in my life that looked like that or would dress like that or would sing like that. And what it said to me is, you're going to be a success.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
deal with that. And the funny thing was, though, when we went back together and kind of described it, somebody else said, you're describing my mother. And I'm like,
Oh, what? Oh, that is
oh, you weren't in the
fascinating.
reading, but that probably was your mother, you know?
Wow. And
And
it's always a connection too, like that in some way in our groups, and
wow.
it's always it. I mean, spirit is just phenomenal. You
Mm-hmm.
can't make it up, like you just said. You can't make this stuff up. There's no way.
Yeah.
Or Susan Lynn said. I love Susan Lynn. She's
Yeah.
hilarious. She's a
Yeah.
good reader. But I I want to say I put your email in the description box in case anybody would like to get a reading with Terri.
Yeah.
She is that the best way to get a hold of you through email? Oh, hi,
Um,
Donna Smith.
yeah.
You subscribe later, so interesting. Hi, Donna.
Yeah. If they want to book a reading, it's probably better to go to my website, kigaruspiritualjourneys.com, and book a session. But they can still email me. Um, and or if they just, maybe they want to talk or something,
Okay,
maybe something that's happened here, or maybe they could put a comment in this. Once this is a recording, they could put a comment in, and you and I could talk about it some
sure.
more.
Any questions from anybody? We also have Janet P here. So I put Kigaru Spiritual Journeys. That's your website.
Journeys. Uh,
Journeys. Gotcha.
yeah, not the IE, but the EYS.
EYS.
Yeah.
Hi. So I'm going to put that there, see if anybody has any questions. I felt TBarb is saying, I felt a total failure. I felt a total failure, Terri. Thank you. Is she just,
Oh,
no.
T-bar, T-bar's got it going on. I don't know, T-bar, can I tell them about your cupcake?
Oh, and Kelly Dozen Cats is here. Hi, guys. Hello,
Hi,
Tom.
Kelly. Kelly's a great reader. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
he is. T-Barb, can we hear about your cupcakes? Yes.
So the last time we were practicing, I was a little hungry, and
Mm,
and Jean was saying, "What do you think we should read about? What are the things people like it if we give them guidance first?" And I'm like, "Well, we could always do the old thing, read a song, read the flowers, read this." And I'm like, "No, no, Jean, let's read cupcakes. Read the cupcakes." And she's like, "Can you read a cupcake?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can read a cupcake."
yeah.
And so we got to practice 3 times. The first time I didn't get a cupcake. Second time I didn't get a cupcake because they wanted to take this. There was a very certain person who needed to go on a very certain journey, and so she didn't even get to read me. We journeyed for her message. And then the third time I got T-bar, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a cupcake. And indeed, I was getting a cupcake, and I was so happy to read that cupcake. And the cupcake was sitting in front of me, and I'm kind of close to it on my stage. I'm kind of close to the cupcake, and I'm like, oh, T-Barb, it's blue and yellow. It's really pretty. It's a little smushed on one side. That's weird. And it has little star decorations in it, and it's got sparks coming out the side. And I'm about ready to describe the little like decorations on it, and I'm a little close. I now know that if I'm reading Cupcake, especially if it's T-Barb's, I'm going to stay back a little. Um, and as I'm about ready to say something, this big dome comes whoop down just over the cupcake, a great big dome, a big dome, a hard dome, nothing you could see through. And I'm like, and I'm trying to get close to because I feel like, oh my God, I've just shortchanged T-Barb. I can't read the cupcake. I can't see the cupcake. I can't. And I'm like trying spiritually to get in there to see. And she's like, Terri, let me stop you now. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm thinking, good, because I'm not going to see this cupcake anymore. And she said, I know what this is about. And I'm like, thank God someone does. And she's like, that blue and yellow cupcake represents Zelensky and the Ukraine. And I put a dome over him and this and that over him and a invisibility cloak on him. She said, "You're not getting in there." And I wasn't. And it's so funny. After we talked about that, somebody made a funny remark that has stuck with me, and they're like talking about protection in Ukraine and stuff, and somebody said, "Well, apparently Jesus and TBarb got it."
They do. It's, I mean, it's TBarb. Wow, because I knew when you said blue and yellow, I'm like, that's got to be Ukraine. It's got to be something about Ukraine or Russia. And TBarb, was that from Cash Peters, or he's putting the domes on things over there too? Because he was having everybody like put the domes on. But that is so cool that you saw it and it was secured. It was safe.
Oh.
Very safe.
I was never going to be able to remove that dome at all. At all.
Yeah, that is so, that's beautiful. That is awesome. And hi, Angela. Oh, TBarb was doing it before, Cash. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that with the protection. I put the domes and the bubbles, and that was one of the first things I did too. Then I heard him say it, and I was like, "Good, somebody's saying this to a wide audience, and everybody puts these domes up. There's nothing coming through there, you know."
I tell you, if TBarb's got your back, she's got your back.
Barbara's always here with me. She's an angel. Thank you for coming, everybody. Angela's here now. If anyone has any questions, let us know. Anything about trust? Do you need any help in any way? I don't think these ladies do. They're all the very spiritually gifted ladies. TBarb and
they could all be in this little square and talking about it too.
Yeah. Janet, Donna, I really do appreciate you all here. She says, "Oh, thank you." TBarb does. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing and helping explain how to trust your intuition and your guides and it is. I mean, the best way to describe it is there is no way you can make that up. When you said that to me, it was like, wow, no, you know what? Really, I couldn't make that up like that. Right. So to trust that and just let it flow and go into it. When you said that you always would try to stop and put the brakes on. Right. But instead, Jean said, go into it.
Yeah, Jean is the queen, the master of going in. Get a little deeper. Don't pull back and be afraid. Go in. She really can do that. And so I learned from her. I learned from everybody who reads, but that's definitely something I've really learned from her to go in instead of pull back.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do that more often because I always like, am I supposed to go that far? Are you sure should I go there?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, is that too far or not enough? Yeah.
Kelly is saying, I'm feeling indecisive and a bit stuck the last few days. And then she's saying, I'm taking some time off this summer, so appreciating slowing down and taking the time just to be and enjoy. Well, that's good. Yeah. You know, it's been a long 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and now people are starting to go out and, you know, get into where we're with people now, you know, or maybe not. Maybe you don't want to be with people, but and we got the January 6th stuff going on. We have a lot that's going to be uncovered and unfolding over this summer. And it really does sound like a good idea to take a bit of a break if definitely follow your.
Right, take some time off and rest, but Kelly, don't take too long because we need you. Because I don't know if anyone's been read by her, but I was on her show once and then we stayed and chatted, and she threw cards on me and read me, and it was fascinating. She is excellent reader. She like read my life like she had been there,
Yeah.
And then went on to do some more suggestions and stuff. But it she absolutely, it was more than the cards. She's completely tuned in. I know everybody wants to make this designation between like only intuitives, only psychics, only mediums, only card readers. It's all the same
Yeah.
energy. It's
Yeah.
just how we feel comfortable using that energy.
Yeah. And
And,
labeling. Yeah. Because Kelly has given me a reading or two and is phenomenal. And
yeah.
to know how she learned and when she learned, and that
Mhm.
it was basically, Kelly, a download. You were downloaded with a lot of information very quickly. You know, she
Mhm.
wasn't really into the cards or anything prior
Mhm.
to, I want to say about a year ago. I can't speak for fact on that, but
Right.
that's how it happens though. And then you're just like, boom, how do I, and
Yeah.
certain modalities come up on you that it was like you've done them all your life and you've never
Mhm.
picked up a deck of cards before. Um,
Yeah.
I love doing the cards, but I do the same thing with the cards you do. Like if I'm reading somebody, I will shuffle a little bit, throw down a few cards, and it's the guidance. Then they come in and they direct me through the cards on where we're going. It's not that
Right.
I'm reading the card verbatim, but there's an association there somewhere.
Right.
Thanks, Terry. This is from Kelly. You're so sweet, and I appreciate you sharing your energy with me. I can't wait for you to come back to my channel. We get to work together again.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's fun. She's really tapped in, and I like her show. It's got a lot of
yeah.
different guests, and uh,
She's
yeah.
always, yeah, focusing on wellness and healing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the best thing. That's how you learn something, is by teaching it too, right?
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah. So take a break, but not too long, Kelly. Not too long.
Yeah. TBarb is saying maybe that's what I need to get me going because I just go blank. Oh, on the cards. Yeah,
Mhm.
the cards, like, will get me started. And they'll just show me which deck. I'll just walk
Mhm.
by and it'll be that deck. I mean, it's not like I'm even thinking about it. I just grab that deck and pull some
Mhm.
cards, and the next thing I get a whole story for that
Mhm.
person just flowing out of me. It's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, and then
It,
Kelly,
you know, I'm always amazed at all of our different skills. It's all needed. Everything, like when I read on Ron Unconditional Love's channel,
mhm,
I'm a psychic medium, so I'm reading like that. But then the tarot card readers he has, they're also more than that. Like Kathleen J. Lightworker, she can get in there and get the whole. They she can really get in there and get even more. Because for me, it might take a long time to describe that vision have, and since we're on YouTube, I don't feel like I should take up all the time either. So I try to do the best I can. But boy, boy, howdy, those
she's a
cards
good,
really talk.
yeah, she's a good reader too, and so is Ron. Diana was doing that last night. We were just at a practice thing, and
Mhm.
we're just talking about all the latest topics going on in the news.
Mhm.
And boy, she was reading on fire, and I'm like, wow, we should have recorded this. Yes, it was her, Allie,
Yeah.
and oh, Janet, and we just, it was really cool. I mean, it just flowed, and it was natural. And that's another
Mhm.
thing with the trust. If it's something that you have to force, that's
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
that, that's not a good guidance.
Yeah.
A good guidance to follow.
Right. I have noticed when I'm in a journey that if I start to try to force it,
Mm.
because sometimes I'm taken back through the same journey that I've been on before to show the person I'm taking with me something new. They're going to learn
Mm.
something new, but I've been on the journey before.
Right.
And but because I've been on the journey before, I may push a little. And so when I've finally learned that when I'm pushing a little, that I'm trying to force it, that I now stop and breathe deep. So in the journey I was on, I was back at Dirty World, which you could watch a video about Dirty World. And fortunately, I was up in this room, and there was a window out into the street scene, and I was able then to go to the window, look out the window, and just take about 3 deep breaths while my client looked around. So I just like, hang on just a minute. I just went and breathed at the window and like, okay, and then could go back to it, because I could tell I was pushing it. I was forcing it.
You got to relax into that energy. And those energies are a lot different than the normal energy of me sitting here. This is finer. Those energies are finer and such a high vibrational too. I don't even know really how to describe this. It's really hard subject to talk about. I'm sitting here just using the same words, beautiful, fantastic, but it is
right.
Yeah.
And
phenomenal.
One of the I should ask you, how are we for time?
Well, we're at 1:21. So we go whenever you.
Where did you want to be at the end?
Good one. I didn't even know. I wasn't even really paying attention. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I was going to say that another thing is, people have to trust. And what people don't know about me is I'm on a heart medication. There's nothing particularly wrong with my heart that I have to be aware of. But my heart likes to flip and flop around and do all sorts of acrobatics in there. And you feel like you're about ready to meet Jesus. So I take a medicine that causes my heart not to flip and flop around. And what I've noticed, though, is that it causes my heart to beat very steadily. If I want to get my heart going, I have to like run. They put me on a treadmill at like this angle, trying to make me run to get it beaten fast. And I've noticed that this also blunts my emotions. So I don't feel things as much. So a lot of times, a lot of readers say they feel the spirit, they can feel into it. I'm not really feeling into it. I have to trust what they're giving me, regardless of my emotion. That being said, I have to say, though, if I see Jesus in a reading, I'm going to cry. And that's when the emotion just the love coming off of him is stronger than my medicine. And it makes me cry and my heartbeat. And, that just is so powerful. But you do have, you can't just rely upon emotions doing this. You have to listen to the spirits and trust what they're saying to you or showing you or letting you smell or letting you feel.
It to me, it's not so much emotional, like when I feel into the energy, but I can feel the energy differences. Like say driving, well, I'm driving a lot. I'm always blessing the roads and stuff. So
I love that. You told me that, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I bless everything everywhere I go in. And I think a lot of us do that now. But before, I would just walk into a building, right, and I'd feel like just like maybe a pushback. It wasn't a feeling like an emotional feeling. It was just like, be aware this is not a good environment, or this is a good environment. Then when I realized, kind of like with the time, I can light up a building full of love before I go in it, and it's a loving space. It always works. It's so strange. but I just started practicing with it. I don't know, about 10 years ago. I see a lot of a pink plasma and gold sheer sparkly light. So they kind of always together, like the pink plasma will infuse a place or a person, and then the gold sheer sparkly light will cover them.
Wow.
And and that's how I see it. And it's just I when I say pink plasma or gold sheer sparkly, do you see the difference in those two textures? That's how I feel. Like
Mhm.
it's not a feeling, emotional feeling.
You're seeing something like I'm seeing something.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
think it's just so cool. And every day you just learn another another tidbit
Mhm.
of information that is we both talked about this earlier. The only reason we are doing this is to help people. To
Right.
that's the only reason I'm doing,
Yeah.
and to spread more love and unconditional love and peace in the world.
Mhm.
So I just think it's beautiful. I love how you read, and I can't wait to get a reading from you. I'm just excited about it because I know from Jenny, she's explained to me her reading, and I was like, "What did you do?" That sounds so fascinating. So I can't wait to do it. And
I can't, we can't guarantee we're going anywhere,
that,
but we probably are.
yeah, that's okay. I just think it's fascinating how you see
Mhm.
things, how you journey like that,
Mhm.
and you trusted it and you did it.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
all. Well, and not that's all, but that's what we've been talking about all day on our live together is just trusting yourself. Like in Kelly's case, Kelly,
Trusting,
trust that you need to break a minute, or
trusting them, trusting that they're not showing you this for no reason.
yeah. I'm just reading. I'm sorry, I was reading what Kelly was
Mhm.
saying. Janet P talks to her house. I love that. I tell my house thank you when I leave in the morning, and I tell it hello when I get home after work.
Oh,
That is beautiful, Janet.
that
Oh my
is, I learn from everybody in the chat always. I
yes,
always learn something.
yes. And we were saying that before when we were talking. Do you? I don't
Mhm.
know. I think I said, "Do you mind people talking in the chat?" Or you might have said it. And I'm like, "No, please. I learned
Right.
so much from everyone." And
Yeah.
and Terry agreed. I would
Just
never.
Yeah, just like when I was telling you about my journey as the Buddha, I I knew that somebody in the group would have more of an explanation of this. I just needed to be the Buddha, and
Mm,
they would tell me. But it's the same with these, with our YouTube forays.
mm,
I
I
don't
know.
have all the answers. I
Mm,
don't know what all these things mean. I didn't know that Buddha had a friend.
mm,
So I also rely upon the people in the chat to sometimes put out what they're seeing or their interpretation. Sometimes they know more than I do,
yeah.
and so I love it when that they add in or go find the lyrics of a song that maybe we know is being brought to our thing. I personally don't know very much about, or like I'm not a music person, so
Mm,
um, they may show me a song, but I'm not gonna know the lyrics or anything. And so I love the support from the people in the chat. You guys are some kind of power.
I mean, mind blowing, really.
Hmm.
And Kelly did learn from Nancy Jean on how to read.
Hmm.
That is awesome.
Yeah, she's powerful.
Yeah. Yes, Terry, the chat is where it's at. That's what Kelly said. The chat is where it's at. It sure is. Um, like I wouldn't. To me, it would be that's the whole reason I'm here is to have a connection with other people, like-minded, or people who are seeking this.
Hmm.
Starting to seek it.
Right.
Um, to me, that just I don't see any better way to spend my time but talking with
Hmm.
people like you and the people in the chat. It's just
Hmm.
beautiful. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful we've all met and we've come together and have practices and different things together and see each other on the chats all the time
Mhm.
and comment
And
with each other.
see each other in classes too. I think I've taken a class with nearly everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
It might be a dream class or rocks and feathers with Danny Shea and Kim Copeland, or I mean, all sorts of, I think I haven't got to meet everybody in person at all, but I I love meeting everybody and learning their different skills.
Yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
really truly do love, it's such a love connection, a bond, really,
Mhm.
even though you've
Mhm.
never met, with the people. If it wasn't for Allie, I wouldn't have been even on YouTube, but I was always commenting and I would see the same people and over. And it was just like it became family, especially during those last year of 45 being in office. It was
Mhm.
without these groups, I don't think I would have made that last year with him and COVID at the same time. It
Mhm.
was just way too much.
Yeah.
It
I
was like,
I I think so. And this is something you and I had mentioned too, is, COVID was a blessing, man. It
yeah,
gave us all time to
yeah,
stop and reevaluate. And, I would have never have discussed, I mean, I knew I had certain gifts, but I would have never learned how to use them at all if it wasn't for COVID.
me too. Me
Stopping
too.
time for a little bit for us.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
TBarb agrees. Janet, I'm grateful for my amazing chat family. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it really did. I was grateful for COVID. I was grateful everybody got to stop, or most
Mhm.
people. I thought everybody got to stop, and then like one of our chat people, Stephanie, lives in Oklahoma, said they never shut down, and I totally blew my mind. I thought everything in the United States was shut down
Mhm.
except for the first responders and the necessary things.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Well,
now people are
I had to go I had to go home and work from home, so I didn't actually get a stop, but working from home gave me more time
yeah.
to think, evaluate. I
And
could
you heard
work
your
and still
guides.
listen to like YouTube or
Yeah. And you heard your guides. You knew it was coming. I was the same way. They were like, "You're not doing this anymore." And I'm like, "Well, what am I going to do? I have to work." And then COVID came,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Wow, this I
Well,
can get used to this."
maybe you don't have to work.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
terrible thing to say, but on the other hand, I really believe it helped people connect to their hearts and their souls more, and
Mhm.
come to
Yeah.
be to actually start living the lives that they came here to live in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form, or at least notice that there was something else,
Mhm.
that was available to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all we could ask for. T-Barb agrees. Everyone thought I was nuts for enjoying COVID. LOL. It was a huge blessing. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Kelly says
I
COVID made her feel normal. All of a sudden, she fit in because she didn't have to leave her house. I understand that too.
Mhm. It was amazing. It's still amazing because I still haven't really left. I mean, I do go out and I went to the fair, but it's,
Mm,
still, I still feel a little protected.
yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. I feel like I got that comfortable bubble around me, and I
Hmm.
try to. Well, I know I spread it whenever I do go out, but I just run to the store here, get dog food or something. I'm not going too
Hmm.
far, but it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of things start to unfold and where w- I know Danny Shea's having a class on this shaman uh,
Yeah.
thing, and that's going to be. I'm going to go to that one.
Yeah.
So,
I attended his rocks and feathers. I loved it. It
mm,
it 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 changed my stage, my metaphorical stage when I'm reading people. It put a cave on the stage for animal guides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
see, I like how you have a stage. That's a fascinating. That's just how it came to you, where you saw a stage.
yeah, when I joined the class with Susan Lynn, I think she had us imagine a stage, but so I have a stage that kind of wraps around. It's a little space agey in that the flooring is quartz, white quartz.
Yes.
And it's an interesting stage, but I've noticed as time has marched on that
Yes.
while I have the stage set up a certain way, the guides change the stage for what they want. Like they put the cave on there so animal guides could be brought out or given. And then I've met beings that just wiped everything off the stage and did what they wanted. And
Wow.
it's like we're here. This weekend when I read somebody's, the stage held a whole circus on it. I mean, elephants, animals. They were all white, but they had Swedish drawings on them, like almost like tattoos. They had green vines and blue and red and yellow, just primary colors. They were beautiful, but it was so funny because it wasn't that, that thing, not my circus, not my monkeys. And this lady got and unfortunately her saying that was given to her, it is your circus and it is your monkeys. So
I love it. Oh my goodness. Oh, it is. Wow, your mind, the way you visualize and have these pictures, I'm kind of like almost jealous. It's like so cool. You got this whole stage. Diana, oil painter, has the same vivid imagination, and it's just like, wow, you guys. So yeah, I mean, I'm not jealous, but I think it's fascinating to hear how you explain in detail the things that you see, and I mean, the details are seriously there. Like you're seeing a stage. There, sometimes you make it happen. Sometimes they just wipe it away and make it happen, and you get to see all that and be a part of it and discuss it and relay it. Wow, I don't even know if I can do it.
And that's part of the trust too. I don't hold it too tightly. So I have actually gotten to get on the stage once, and I kind of don't really exactly remember why I got on the stage, but I've been on the stage, and that was cool. So I don't tend to hold it in such a way that the stage has to be exactly the way it is every single time. It doesn't have to be. I'm flexible. I really try to be flexible in this, to trust and go ahead and let them don't put God in a box and let it be flexible with what I'm going to see.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier, you had said that to me, that there's no hard fast rules. It's just you let it flow, and that has everything to do with trust. Just letting it flow and following where that flow is going, having the faith in that moment, in those moments, builds up. Though it builds up your faith, and then you have a more advanced, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, belief system on where anything is really possible here. There's no rules,
Yeah, what I love about you and I, as we've been talking about, this, it's so funny because as we're talking, I'm starting to kind of realize that we can almost kind of interchange trust and faith. They're almost interchangeable.
Absolutely. And they're so vitally important to our growing as our intuitive empaths, psychics. But again, I agree with you. Everybody has these abilities, and we could, and they are true abilities. But I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's special. Only certain people have, this psychic mediumship or whatever. Now that's true. It doesn't mean that everybody's a medium, but everybody has some sort of intuitive gift to
Right.
go.
It's like running. We probably were almost all born with the ability to run, but some of us are athletes and some of us aren't.
Yeah. No, I'm not running. I'm not the runner.
I don't think you one of them right now either.
Yeah, after being, well, you did hair and I was a server, a bartender. I could walk really fast with a lot of things in my hands.
Right.
Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. But I mean, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we really appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you, Terri, for coming by and hanging out with me. I would love to do it again if you're up for it anytime.
I am. You just choose a subject, and I'll see if I know anything about it.
Great, and same for you. I'm open too.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, and I love you, and I send you love and peace, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. They're so cute.